Right, I'm back. I am back. Right, what's the plan? Well, the plan of attack is, what's the reports for today? Right, we've made a lot of money today. Fine. Next, coffee sorted. Yeah, TTS. First of all, Revolut, we've frozen your card. Fantastic. We have. This is how Revolut works. So we've got a lot of money in Revolut, and it comes up with our system. What? Okay. Our system has detected an unusual payment attempt, and we have frozen the card to keep your funds safe. Is that Revolut running out of money? I think it might have been running out of money. Revolut as a bank are short on money today. I wonder why. So if they can go down the route doing 50% of people who have accounts with them and send them a message, then they might get out of it saying, well, actually, you know what, brilliant, awesome. But anyway, we'll see. That's Revolut. Imagine having a business whereby you're banking people's money, you're retaining people's money, but also then allowing them to spend money as well. And obviously, sometimes on some days they spend too much money. Imagine. So sending out a mass message to a lot of people to say stop spending money. It is a psychological impact on people's mindsets, because they'll just be like, oh, fair play, we don't need it. It's mad, isn't it, how I produce this content and I allow people to understand how the systems actually work, and people don't actually believe me. It's mad, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, if I said to yourself, if I said that they send you if I said to you today, they send you a notification to say we've stopped you from spending money because of X, Y, and Z, then it's not the fact that it's protecting you, it's the fact that they've got no money. That's the realization of fact. Because if I was Revolut, that's what I would do. I'm in business. If I don't want to spend money and I want people to start spending money, that's what I would do. It's mad. The funny thing is, nobody, and this is between you now, nobody has my Revolut account. Nobody has access to my Revolut account. So the only way that money can be put into Revolut is by me transferring money in, or by me transferring money out. That's the only way you can get into Revolut. And there's also multiple. You can't even get into my Revolut account using logins, because it has to be authenticated via me. And also it's not in my name. It's in the login is such bizarre name that you wouldn't be able to hack into it. So straight away, what I don't understand is how somebody's been able to log into my account. So if I've gone down the route using my login name and my email address, which is completely and utterly Z9139878981987654321 at something, and it's not going to be a Hotmail account or whatever, it's a domain, how on earth are you ever going to be able to get those details correctly? You can't. So when you get emails like that coming through saying we have detected, I never use my Revolut account for anything. Nobody ever. All I do is transfer money in as a holding account and transfer money out as a holding account, and I had to log in myself personally for that. So when you get emails coming through saying that from Revolut, there's definitely a scamming involved. This is the systems that I put in place to break systems, to work out systems. And I've said, right, well, actually, you know what? It's mad, isn't it? How we disable your account? We think someone's trying to get into your account. Well, I've never used it. So anyway, bro lives in his car. Bro doesn't live in his car. Bro's just left his hotel. He's gone down the route doing a 45-minute event, and basically smashed the living shit out of it. And clients come back to me and said, Mike, thank you. This is a client of 6 years. They've come over from the States. They obviously request me as a person, and we've just literally done a 45-minute show, and it was seamless from start to finish, seamless. And that's how I live in hotels. This is how I live life, because we respect and we are very, very influential on events. So and plus go to request it, so I guarantee the work. So it's not like we have to go down the route of thinking, right, well, start a business, trying to get more work in, try to do this, try and do that. It's not like I have to work every single day of the week. It's madness. I turn up, doing an elite job, and yeah, sorted. And the way we get paid is not by payment per day or a payment for a we don't get like a day rate, or we don't get like a payment from a payment coming in. So we work off dividends. We work off basically the fact that you know, shares and dividends really, and that's how the company works. Because of if the company does well, then we all get a payout, and then it's all tax free. So we don't pay tax basically. And the reason why we do that is because, well, why do we need to pay tax? Like, you know, it's a US company who's come over to do a conference in the UK, and yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how like the real world actually works compared to the fake world that we all live. It's mad. It's mad. But however, it's bought a latte coffee, and the latte coffee bought in the UK. Now, depending on how things operate, these staff get paid on salary because it's workers. But then because it's a brand of Starbucks, there's a contract in place to say that any profits are go to a different country, and that's how things operate. It's all very, very cleverly wired to make sure that nobody pays tax, basically. So, anyway. Unfortunately, if people live in the UK and they've got jobs in the UK, you have to pay tax on their wages, but anything else, you don't pay tax. And if you collaborate as well between people, it always works as well. It's just the less transactions of money. The minute you pay somebody, that's basically classed as a transaction, and that's when obviously that's classed as income tax. So you don't want to be transferring money. The less transactions you can do in the world today, the better, because the only people that actually win and gain from that is the government. And unfortunately, the government don't spend money wisely. They spend money on shit, and it's mad, really. Anyway, I'm just giving me 2 minutes just to have a coffee, get my heated seat on, because that's how we operate today. And again, we've actually literally parked right outside the hotel. There's actually I've actually realised we probably paid probably over like 200-300 tickets, parking tickets. We probably paid them now. I don't pay parking tickets personally. I just hand them over and they get paid. But I've now actually realised that there's a bit of a con. I think there's a con in the world today, and I think I've established what the con is. But in London, I've now established by parking illegally a lot. I've now realised that actually there's a way that we can manipulate parking in London without getting tickets, and yeah, for the last 3 days I've achieved it. So we're going to go park somewhere else tonight and see if we can avoid getting a ticket again. And if we can avoid getting a ticket again, then I'll be like, yes, success. So it's interesting. It's interesting, but I think we've established a free parking, and if I've established that, then great. But it's a numbers game. It's one of those things. I've had to park illegally a lot to actually work out. When I say park illegally a lot, it's not like I'm parking on double yellows. It's about parking in spaces, or specific spaces in specific time zones. So, but it's not about being corrupt or breaking the system on purpose. I've done it by mistake. It's not what that I've deliberately gone out of my way to do this. It's just kind of like been parking in bays and not paying tickets and not buying tickets. And suddenly I've realised that over a period of time, we've achieved, basically. So, anyway. So yeah, I need to get some food. And we're back. We're back tomorrow. Not at this hotel. The reason why I don't share my locations and things, because of the amount of people that are awful in the world today. Like, people go down there thinking, well, hang on, this guy's influential. He's obviously understands the world, and he obviously goes down the route of spending a lot of money. Now, it's hard to level up with people who are at a caliber. It's really hard. Like, I'd find it hard to level up with Elon because I don't understand. But when I understand, I can then level up with Elon. But this is when I say I don't understand Elon's position, I understand Elon's position because I understand life now. But you have to align with people. Basically, you have to align with Trump, for instance. That's why, one of the reasons why he's realized in life that you can't compete on a level whereby you're competing in business against somebody, because if you compete with somebody in business, you're never ever going to be able to make money. But if you align with people, you can make money. It's like when you look at people like Tony Robinson, he's aligned with people, hence why he is now exponentially got a lot of money. To make my first million, I've done that to make my first million in the world today, I've pretty well done that by working very, very hard, competing with people. And now I've established making the first million was difficult. It was hard, I'm not lying to you, it was fucking hard work. I'm onto my second million now. Now, it's slightly easier because I've made the first million. So straight away now, I've now established that, you know, once you've done something once, it's easier the second time around. But the problem is you have to adapt. Now, for me, I've had to adapt in the world today to be in multi countries, because I've established that there's basically like a rainbow effect in business, whereby you start a business and you start from the ground up and you go up like this and you hit a peak. And when sometimes you hit a peak, that peak will go on for months and months and years and years and years, and it will carry on going. But the problem you see in business is you hit a peak. You can't, you know, you have to really sit down and think. You have to sit down and think about life and go down the road thinking, right, how am I going to get over that peak? Either keep on climbing, or you hit a peak. We see it with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of those things that we've hit a peak. We've hit a peak now. I don't believe that Bitcoin will ever go to 100,000 until it drops. I think it will drop first before it'll go to over to 100,000. But we've hit a peak. It will fluctuate around the 70,000, 80,000. It might go up an extra couple of thousand, maybe 86,000. But there's a peak of Bitcoin, and it's just basically it is a time scale, and that it is a time scale in life, really. I've established that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are timeline scripted. I've realized when I say timeline scripted, I've realized that looking over when Bitcoin first started to where we are now, I've seen how Bitcoin grows. It is power. It is power. It is a powerful force. Bitcoin is, and it's all about leverage. It's all about scarcity. Not many people have Bitcoin, and that's how Bitcoin works. Because there's only so much Bitcoin, and there's only so much money in Bitcoin, and the ratio to what Bitcoin actually is a resource. It's a resource. It's a fighting force for a resource. It's very similar to gold, but it is a thing. It's not an object. It's not a physical thing, but it's a digital thing. But it does hold power. It holds value. So it's interesting. It's more about abundance. It's more about obviously credibility. And if you own Bitcoin, then you're better as an individual than anybody else, basically. So if I've got Bitcoin and you haven't, it's an on and off switch. So I'm better than you because I've got Bitcoin. It's the same mentality as I've got BMW and you haven't got BMW. It's a brand, basically. It's a brand image. So that's what Bitcoin is, and that's what obviously cryptocurrencies are. What I've established is with cryptocurrencies is it's interesting to see AI and what AI has actually now predicted for the future for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. So that's interesting. That's gone through to the office. So yeah, it's interesting to see how things have changed, especially with obviously a load of meme coins. I now understand meme coins to quite a high standard now. I've not really spoken about meme coins because I don't believe that the general public should be getting involved in such a it's basically a game. You're playing a virtual online game in real time, basically, with other people. So you gotta understand what meme coins are. It's not the sort of thing that I would suggest anybody to get involved with, unless you know the ins and outs, and you understand the logic, the scripting, and understand the risk factors. So meme coins I'd stay away from, unless you really want to. You need to spend. For me, I spent probably the last 12 months looking over and deciphering how meme coins became a thing, who owns the space, and also what the end goal to meme coins is about. And when you start to look at the people that are involved in the meme coins, who were the inventors, the providers, and also when you look at their obviously background history, you then start to realize who these people are. So yeah, it's interesting. So personally, yeah, it's not really the sort of thing I'm going to go on about meme coins, because of obviously people. In life, there's good and bad. There's truth and there's dishonest. There's lies, and yeah, it's basically pulling the whole of society together and trying to work out. For me, it's trying to understand what the dictionary is about, what obviously maths and numbers is all about, what the line is about, and what objects around the world facilitate. And yeah, it is interesting. Like, I understand why, and this is obviously, I understand why people do courses whereby it's not a monetary value, of course. If you are outspoken on the public domain about subjects, which are subjects I think people need to be aware of, you end up finding out you have problems in the world today. So when you see these people behind closed doors, for instance, if you pay for a service, it's different. If you pay for a service and you then get information and advice, then I understand why people do these online courses now. I totally see it, and it's not because well, there's two reasons why they do it. First of all, they have to, because if they don't, they find out that they get into a lot of problems in the world today. But also, as well as it is, it's like university. For instance, if I wanted to go and learn something in university, I'd obviously get to know a degree of knowledge. I wouldn't know everything, but I know a degree. I'd be taught what the curriculum wants me to know. But for me, what I've now established is there's certain things on the internet that I've been following for a good 10 to 15 years now of my life, and I've been pinging websites on a script, and I've been pinging data. So for instance, I built a script to monitor a website to see if there's any changes. If any changes happen on that website, let me know. Now, these are websites that are not governed. Sorry, these are websites that are on the public domain and have been for several years, and now they've been taken down. And I now start to understand that these are websites which have been providing a lot of information about life, truth, and what we now believe is no longer available on the internet. So the internet is now being crushed, and I've established that now. I've seen it firsthand. There's no reason why a website would ever be taken down, or ever be taken offline, especially if the website has been prepaid for. If the domain has been prepaid for 10 to 15 to 20 years, because people have obviously deceased, etc., then there's no reason why those websites should ever be taken off the public domain, which is basically the line. If you don't know what the line is the internet, basically. We do obviously say it's the cloud, because the cloud is not physically, we say the internet's on the cloud, but technically there is no cloud. It's a line, basically. So but yeah, it's interesting to see the whole logic of the symbolization of life. How if I ask somebody now what's the internet, they'll say, oh, it's on the cloud. That's lack of education. That's a lack of education. It's like, where's the cloud? Oh, it just disintegrates. And it's like, yeah, that's not the case. Or you know, sir, or sweetheart. Like, you know what I mean? I shouldn't really be saying that, should I? Actually, you know. But anyway, Tabasco, got a message today, actually. I don't know what's gone on, but I got a message today. I don't know if it was yesterday, but yeah, basically someone says, Mike, have a great, fantastic stream. Not sure what the BS is with Tabasco, but having, again, about having permissions to ban mods. Oh well. See, I don't know what's going on there, but again, yeah, it's one of those things, really. It's come through. Anyway. Anyway, well, it's one of those things, really. I totally get it. Like, people will have alternative motivations in the world today, and motives. The problem is, I'm just too big. I'm too rich. I'm too big now. Like, if I lost everything today, I'd rebuild it back within seconds. Like, I can't be stopped. The only time I can be stopped now is if I get killed. Like, and that's the only difference. Like, you know what I mean? It's mad. Like, I spend thousands, I travel, I do what I want on a daily basis. So when someone goes down the route slating me, and says, "Oh, Mike, you know, you've been involved in X, Y, and Z." Really? What? Are you gonna read the media or the Sun? Like, come on. Anyway, it's like going back to the days of school, isn't it? He said, she said, miss, she said this, and he said this, and you know, the same mentality of sticks and stones. You know, again, it doesn't really matter. Anybody can say anything they want about me, because at the end of the day, who knows the truth? No one knows the truth unless you're literally spending time with me on a daily basis, living in hotels like me on a daily basis, going out for drinks, meeting other people. And that's the only time people ever know anything about me now, because it's what I do. So, and also it's whatever I say, people won't believe because they think I'm a liar. And it's kind of like, really? That's why I live stream. I live stream my life for a reason, because I don't want to go down the route of people going down the route of posting on social media, proving a point that aren't points. You know, I'm rich, I've got a Rolex watch. No, you haven't. It's fucking fake. And this is the whole thing about life. I'd have to walk around life masked. I'd have to wear masks. I'd have to go down the route of putting like gold jewellery around my neck. Look at my lifestyle. Yeah? And then go down the route of saying that I'm not rich. Right, fine. Well then, anybody else on the internet that posts on social media saying that they're rich, try and compete with me. Try and compete with my lifestyle, and then turn to me and say, actually, mate, fair play. So, anyway, I'll tell you one thing I'm waiting for at the minute. I need to actually find out how many points I've actually got on my license, because all my points come off my license in literally like days now. So let's have a look. I actually got a conviction on my license for refusing to give evidence to the police, and I didn't even know about it. So what happened was, I had somebody that worked for me who needed a vehicle. So basically, I gave them my car. I said to him, "I'll pay for the train ticket." So he came and collected my car from me. I insured it. It was my old 5 Series. So I gave him my old 5 Series because they needed a car, and I insured them under my name, under my company. And what happened was, at that time I was moving out of my apartment, which was 7 floors up in the centre of Manchester. So I was moving out of my apartment, and anyway, I totally, because in my head, because I'd moved over onto a different vehicle, I totally forgot that the vehicle that I handed over was owned by me, obviously still, and I totally forgot that it was still under the old address. So anyway, speeding points were, I got a load of speeding points that were added to my, there's a load of speeding points that were added onto the actual car that was driving. I wasn't the driver, obviously, but anyway, because I left the address, all these speeding convictions were coming through, and I didn't really realise at the point, so I moved, I left. Anyway, eventually the police got in touch with me. I had a phone call one day, and had to go into the police station, and I actually said, I don't have that car. Like, you know, I didn't realise, I totally forgot, I no longer live at that address. So I ended up getting into trouble for something that I've not even done. I got into trouble by the police for something that I've not fucking done. And it's kind of like, that's when I realised there's two-tier policing involved. And that's when I realised that it was just difficult. So anyway, I explained what happened, and they basically wouldn't, they took down the statement, and basically what came back was a horrendous, like basically what I said as a statement, they actually targeted my license, and they basically fucked up my license basically. So and really that's when I realised life wasn't what life was about. So that's when I realised the police were corrupt basically. So me being white British, honest, you know, have good moral status and values in the world today, and then I'm the one that gets fucked. So again, obviously a man ever gets fucked once, obviously financially, or, you know, it doesn't really matter. A man will only get fucked once, and he'll learn his lesson. So yeah, unfortunately, I've had to wait 3 years to get this off my license. So but yeah, it's the way the world is, unfortunately, and it's gonna get worse. I'm telling you, it's not very nice. So anyway, let me just now check. Let me just pull up my license, and let me just check. But this is what I think people need to understand and things. You know, it's, unfortunately, we can work hard, we can dedicate. All you got to do now is you got to realise what the world's about. And when you realise how the world works, it operates, you've just got to make sure that you literally. It's why the world's based off a line, because the internet's a line, the world's a line. If you want to go forward in the line, you go faster in the world today, or you go slower in the world today. So my mentality is if you base everything off the concept of we need to live on the line, you know, either you fall left and right off a fence, would you have that whole correspondence and that mentality behind the line, you can't really lose basically, and that's what I've established really. So let me just check. Check points? Right, show your live driving license information. Right, driving license number. What I don't understand as well, and this is something for me as well in my head, and this is obviously something that I think we need to understand, is I don't fucking understand how people get a license without a national insurance number. How do you do it? Because all these foreigners are coming in, and they're getting, like, they're coming over on my stream drops out. Vehicles you drive, penalty points, disqualified. Right. So currently, I've got 6 points on my license. I was convicted. I was convicted at. Oh, we're back. Yeah, basically, I was convicted. The offence date was on the 16th of November. I was convicted a year later, practically. Convicted, obviously, in 2023. And basically, yeah, my points expire. So 16th. And I'll tell you what happened. This is thinking Warwickshire, because they were the ones that dared me. So they charged me £660 fine. And this was the day that I actually I got shafted by the courts. But anyway, I can't really go too much into it really, because again, it's still active. I need to make sure I need to basically make sure these get terminated first. But I actually go down there explaining the court proceedings and how things actually operate in the world today with the courts, and you'll start to understand really. If you get points now, it's a bit different, but anyway, I've realised the systems are all broken. So this for me won't happen again. I'll never ever get points on my licence. I'll tell you the reason why: because I've broken the system. So it doesn't matter for me. My car will never get towed, for one. I'll never get points on my license ever again in my life, because I've broken the system. I've realised the system in place, and I've established that it won't ever get fucked. I will never ever get fucked again. And this is what happens at being male. You learn very quickly. You get fucked once, you get fucked twice, but you change the dynamics, and you say, right, So yeah, this is my last little period now of life of getting points, and I'll never get points on my license again. Doesn't matter how much I drive, doesn't matter what speeds I drive, I'll never get points because I've now established the systems in place that are broken. So, but yeah, let me just get these points gone first, and I'll explain. Because of the last thing I want to do is express my thoughts and opinions on points, and then find out that these are the ones that then I get shafted even worse. Because once they've gone off, they've gone off. They can't reapply points once they've gone off. But if they stay on and they change the dates, that might be a problem. So. Well, it has been snapshotted and located, so anyway, first of all, let me have a look at hotels for tonight, because we obviously need to stay in a hotel again, do we, tonight? So are we going to stay in well, I can't stay in the same place now. People know where I'm staying. We now need to change. So Tuesday to Wednesday, it's getting dark as well. So hotels tonight are literally in there, basically £300 up everywhere you go. So £300 up, £300. So we got one for 338, one for 408, one for 266. One for 392, one for 602, 510, 436. 418, 494, 604, and 604, and 361. So really, any hotel in central London is basically just expensive. Yeah. It's madness, absolutely pure madness. But anyway, we'll wait till later on, because I don't know where I'm going to be yet, and I'll just book it in. So I got a phone call. It's not a phone call. I got a message saying, "Hi, hello. Just to let you know, you'll soon be able to." You see, this is from Vodafone, yeah. So Vodafone have been, again, I don't quite understand, but we'll soon be able to make calls. My Vodafone bill has been coming through at £11.99 for the last 6 months. Since last 4 months since I'm not quite sure what it must be doing my watch. My watch must be £11, I think, and it's probably the only thing that hasn't quite worked yet, but. So in December, so what they've done here is in December, they've gone down the route of charging. I don't know what Vodafone are doing. But they've really messed up my account. And I've got billing information. So if I go into billing information, let's go back. So in September, my bill was £345 for the month in September. My bill for October was £11.70. My bill for November is £118, and my bill for December is £66.22. So yeah, how can you go down the route of pricing me? Oh, it's estimated it's £66.22. So they've estimated. It's like they've not really, in life, what everyone's established now is they can go down the route of using this mentality now, whereby they can preempt. So in July, my phone bill was £409.41. In May, it was £294. In June, it was £168. £409.41 in July. August was £172.81. September was £345. October was £11.70. How do you work that out? I do not know what's going on. And yeah, I've got an estimated bill. So they've gone down the route now of doing estimated bill now. They've put estimated bills in now. Estimated total £66 for November. Sorry. Estimated bill, sorry, is going to be £118.20. This is how Vodafone operate now. I think they've gone down the route of, you know, those are all my, let me just make sure that I've got no data. I need to, I'll prove a point here because I want to make sure that you don't actually see too much, but like, imagine my life being exposed very quickly and it'd be like, oh, brilliant, mate, we now can get in touch with you directly. I'm gonna just get that image and let me just basically flip it so everyone can see the information. Because again, everything I do is the truth, and I want people to understand that because, you know. So anyway, that was, let me just put my phone on, there you go. So that's my billing information. So that's what happens. That's the truth. You can't change the truth. That is the truth. So how do you work out that? You try and tell me how Vodafone can work out that. The problem is with the life, they want to confuse you. They want you to be so confused as a human that you look at this and go, fuck me, what's going on? I don't get it. The minute they can get you to understand that human nature is fucked, like they are doing, they can do whatever they want. They can charge you whatever they want. They can they can rip money out of your bank, anything they want. Because if you've got a figure that comes in every single month and goes down the route of saying, you know, let's say for instance, £60 a month. If you've got a fee that comes in £6 a month, £6 a month, £6 a month, that is the problem with society, because they can then say there's a difference. If you've got, what they're doing to me now is they're basically trying to fuck me. They're trying to fuck me in the sort of way that they don't want me to understand they don't want me to understand things. So they've scripted it in such a way whereby as a user, I'm confused. Why am I being charged £11 one month and then £66 the other month, then £12 this month, then £120, £118 this month? Overall, what they're actually doing is if they can confuse me in what they're doing, then it means then you see, I then don't know what I'm paying. And that's the whole idea. So I'm busy, I've got kids, I've got a wife, it's a nagging wife, she's confused, I'm confused, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to make money, trying to keep a roof over my head. The whole idea about life is to confuse. If you can confuse somebody, if every single company can confuse people, then straight away you're broken. You're basically broken the matrix, basically, and that's what they want. Sorry, broken the matrix. They want you to do the opposite. They want you to be part of the matrix. So what the matrix is it's a unified. I can't even say it. It's a union of people who know what they're doing. So, for instance, driving down the road and getting your number plate flagged on a car parking ticket, you're gonna get things. You're gonna get through the post anyway. End of story. How many tickets do you get for parking? Thousands. How many car parks do you drive in? They might not ticket you straight away. They might wait 6 months. They might wait 3 years, but they'll ticket you at some point. All they need to know is that car at that point in time went through that barrier. That's all they need to know. You might find out that you paid your ticket. That was it. So if I want to make £1 million overnight, if I want to make £1 million overnight, I can scam the system. I can go down the route of saying, I'm going to put a load of ANPR cameras up in public places. I'm going to go down the route of waiting. I can go down the route of saying, right, 10 years later, 5 years later, I'm just going to send out a load of tickets. Doesn't matter. I've got your address because I can backdate your address. I can backdate. I can apply for the information from the DVLA 10 years later, or well, actually, I think it's 6 years later. I can get it up to 6 years. I can file a CCJ, so I can wait 5 years, file a CCJ, and then and then say, right, well, you parked in this car park at this time. I could do that on a mass scale of data, and this is the problem with society and life today. So one thing I'll say to you is to beat the system. Don't have your driving license in the same name as your driving license. You don't have the driving license in the same name as your car is, because what will happen is they're linked together. Driving license and number plate, they're linked together. So straight away, your addresses are going to be linked. So straight away, they can file a CCJ against you. The system in place is broken. So they always say, we want to have your driving license in the same name and address as your residency. And the minute you do that, your car needs to be registered in the DVLA under the same address and name. That then gives authentication to the private car parking companies to actually then give you a CCJ. Now, the government won't give you a CCJ. They can't. And I'll tell you the reason why the government can't give you CCJs. The government can't give you CCJs because they haven't got the money. But private car parking companies can. And that's how they work. And they pay taxes. So the private car parking companies pay taxes to the government on income. So that's all right, because it's income. They pay taxes. So the government get paid anyway. But they haven't got to go down the route of thinking, right, well, if the government can go down the route of not giving parking tickets out and give private companies the issue, they can go down the route of getting the money in from the locals and then go down the route of facilitating. So, you know, the whole idea is the government's not going to spend money. They still get paid their money because they then chase the company. And this is how things are starting to operate now. And how do you beat it? Well, you either beat them by aligning with them, by doing the same as what they're doing, or you object. So for instance, like for me, as a human being, my moral status in the world today is I can't go around fucking somebody else. I physically feel I can't do it. And this is the issue. We've got these, you know, but then you've got other people as humans that can. So straight away, you look at the bigger picture, and you think, right, okay, well, who are the good people in the world? Who are the bad people in the world? And we have these, again, we see the issue. Well, you tend to find out parking ticket wardens now, they don't drive. They don't drive, so they've got no empathy. They've got no sympathy. So you say to, you know, the other day, I asked a guy who was ticketed a car. I asked him, I said, excuse me, can I ask you a question? I say, do you drive? And he said, no, I don't drive. I said, right, okay. So how do you do this job? And he says, because it's a job. I need the money. And I said to him, okay. And I left it at that because I know the realization. He's desperate. He needs the money. He'll go down the route of fucking somebody else over to make sure he gets his pay. Now think about the bigger picture. Everyone does that in the world today. If a parking warden does that, then everyone's doing it. And it's mad. It's mad to even think about it. So anyway, eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be eventually what happens is the elites operate. The elites, the 1% of the elites work out the world today, and they become successful. And unfortunately, the poor come poor. It's why Elon Musk, and this is hand on heart, it's why a lot of women are messaging Elon Musk for his semen, because he's got a very good IQ level. He knows the world. He understands. So straight away, why on earth would you ever get a woman to associate with a guy who's average? A guy that's average. Why would you do it? Because at the end of the day, obviously, a woman wants the best for her and her kids. So straight away, you need the best form of semen. You need the best form of, you know, of DNA straight away. So you could say that Elon came from a background of, you know, of not understanding. Do your research into Elon Musk. Do your research into his family. And then you start to realise, actually, I start to get it. And this is the reason why I've now started to realise that when you look at attraction and attention and attraction from male and female, it's broken. The society of differences is now broken. So somebody like myself, who lives in hotels, who hasn't got to go to work every single day of the week, who could provide, you know, for a child and a family, and obviously for a positive relationship, I can put all my eggs into one basket and really power forward. But then the opposite side is I don't go to the gym. I haven't got big muscles, but the attraction isn't there, because you think to yourself, well, actually, you know what, Mike? Yeah, I now start to understand. I get it. So really, what I've now established is women are not. I've started to realise now that women, they look at materialistic things. They look at materialistic things for instance, in majority of life. They don't obviously go down the route of looking at a partner and thinking, you know what, I want to have children with the best form of what I can get out of this. Well, they end up going down the route of they think for themselves is for them is a visual effect, and then they go down the route of realizing that, you know, eventually they haven't got the best form of intellect going forward. And then let's spin it, we find out that they have kids, and then they spend a lot of time with not the rich, with poor and poverty, and then we establish then there's a broken connection between society, and that's what I've established now. So one thing I will say about women, they need to reassess their lives. They need to go down the route of thinking to themselves, right, I want the best. I want a guy who's motivated, who's rich, who drives a nice car, who's got businesses, who's driving forward. That's what women need to be looking at. And at the end of the day, forget these people that go into the gym who think to themselves, you know what, got big muscles. Yes, you know, it's a broken society, and now I've established it. It's the way that the world is. It's mad. I can go to the gym now. I can turn my body into something that is mental. And that's the thing, you see. Once I do that, you then start getting the attention. Do I want the attention? Not really. I'll keep myself to myself. I'll stay rich. You know, and that's what I think people need to align with now. It's mad. It's mad. Obviously, a lot of people say, Mike, you're putting women down now. It's not about putting women down. They need to listen to what I'm saying as intellectual, and they need to pass on that information down to their siblings, really. And I'm not saying that in any prerogative way, because at the end of the day, every single human has a base programming within their mind to learn. That's it. A computer has a base understanding of scripting to understand, to build on top of that. Top of that. So, for instance, a computer is basic, but it has a basic knowledge, and obviously we then adapt that computer to do what we want it to do as human beings. And computers are based off a silicon-based system. They're not a biological time clock that humans are. But we're now getting into the realms now, and obviously into quantum mechanics now, whereby we now understand the human mind. So now we've deciphered and dissected the human mind and put that into computers, which now we have now done. That's how now quantum mechanics works. That's how obviously we can start to work out, you know, things at super fast speeds. Because anything could be on at any one point, anything could be off, and anything could be on and off at the same time, and anything could be halfway as well. So if you look at 255, for instance, as what we would normally work on with majority of life, 255 is between, it's not from 0 to 100%, because 0 to 100% it's just a percentage. But if you do numbers, and which is what we tend to work on as 255 in majority of binary, you tend to work out that actually we could be on or off, or anything between 255 on or off. So you might find out that, you know, a layer is, let's say a layer is going to be at 255. Now a layer could be at 50. A layer could be at anything between there, but a percentage doesn't work, because a percentage is a percentage of something. So a percentage of speed at 30 would be X. A percentage of speed at 50 will be X. So percentages they don't really work really in the biological computer systems, really. Sorry, silicon systems that we have in place. But then silicon's now old school. We're now changing. So anyway, 0-1 is binary. Oh right, we're talking about binary. But don't talk to me about computer systems. Don't talk to me about binary, because I'll tell you exactly the way the world works. We are working on binary. Everything you ever do in the world today is binary. I'll tell you, it's binary everywhere. Until you go to quantum, into quantum, and then obviously it changes then. But yeah, it's mad. But everything's numbers. But humans aren't very good. Humans aren't very good at numbers. Hence why we have to use pictures and images, and we have to use. That's why Microsoft. If you look at a computer, if you look at a Windows computer and you've got a mouse on screen, everything you do on that screen is black screen. If you remove the colourful interface, it's a black screen with white writing. That's all a computer is. It's binary, basically. Everything drops down to binary at some point. But obviously binary is so complex that nobody gets it. And the human mind doesn't even understand binary. So numbers, everything to do with computers is binary. And everything we look at is colourful. So for instance, to build an image is binary. It's ones and zeros. And whenever we move a mouse, X and Y across the screen, that's all binary. It all goes back into a binary format at some point. We don't realise it. But if I said to you, right, use binary, everyone would be like, I don't get it. So that's why, if you understand binary, you are elite. You're part of the elites, because if you understand binary, you understand the world. So when you start to look at the world and go, right, well, if I understand binary to a very, very intense, like meta statement, if you look at a meta statement, it has to be a meta statement, and a risk assessment needs to be basically put into situ, whereby humans can look at that and they can read it and understand. But if you go down and look at that meta statement into code, That's what basic computer programming is. It's all binary. It's all basic ones and noughts. Everything's ones and noughts. But the elites don't want to say that. The elites don't want to tell you that because they don't want you to understand binary. They want you to understand the basic colourful picture. You know, the world's a great place. You know, you buy something, that's going to give you, then you'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. Then you're going to be able to level up. But actually, technically, you'd never be able to level up. That's the realization of life. You can't level up until you understand the basics of life, which is binary. Binary is biological. It's everything we do. You know, man and woman have sex, they have intercourse. It's binary. And the mind, the brain, is binary. It's biological, binary. And when you start to understand everything, you tend to realize, I get it, Mike. Totally get the world. So religion's binary. Like, everything's binary. It's madness. Good, bad, you know, is binary. It's either on or off. It's opposites. Opposites is binary. You know,
eastbound, that's due to an obstruction
and
on the road.
That's what it is. A car's binary. The way I speak is binary. It's either I'm deaf or I'm not deaf, or I can see or I'm not, or I can't see. And when I lift my arm up like this is binary. This is like literally to do with, you know, inside my brain to lift my arm up. It's just basically, that's binary. It's happened. I've lifted my arm up. It's the truth or it's false. Everything's binary. So yeah, I think what I need to do is I've got to go down the route of really building a basic understanding of life into allowing people to understand it. I need to, you know, I think for me, I've got to teach binary into the sort of way that people get what binary is and they understand the logic of binary. It's like if you have a man and a woman, that's binary. It works. And if you go down the route of like golf is binary. You put a hole, you basically put a ball in a hole. It's binary. You know, you go down the route of looking at everything. And as long as it fits, it's like when you're a child and you've got like this, like, you know, you've got all like these shapes. And you've got all these shapes and you've got a square and a circle. Now, that's binary. You put a circle in a circle hole, a square in a square hole. Now, if you switch it, it doesn't work. Now, that's binary. And the thing is when you get two females that are lesbian, that's not binary. When you get two males who are gay, that's not binary. It doesn't work. We've adapted it to work. We've adapted it to make it work, but it's not binary. But you see my logic. I think people need to understand the wholeness mentality that like everything has to be binary to make civilization work. So I thought everything was binary. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's either a coffee that's hot or cold. Is it coffee? Yes or no? Yeah? Is it plastic? Yes or no? Binary. It's all ones and noughts. Is Mike talking? Yeah, he's talking. Is he talking the truth? Yes, he's talking the truth. Sorry, I better leave here because I might get blinking assassinated. Oh yeah. I might get shot because I'm telling everyone it's binary. Anyway, right, we're leaving. Right, cool. I'm probably not to stay here tonight because I showed my location. I need to leave basically because I'm going to end up finding out I'm going to have problems. It's mad, isn't it, the world we live in today? So I need to go and eat for one. TTS, Mike. What, just so you can abuse me? Alright, fine. I'll put TTS on. I need to turn the heat down as well. I'm getting fucking hot now as well. Sorry, my body's overheating. It's a gradient of binary. Oh, it's 255. So binary 0, binary is 1, and between that is 255. So how hot am I? For instance, I'm at the moment, temperature-wise, 255 is me passing out, or 0 is me not passing out. So we go down the route looking at the ratio to either being cold. But then what's cold? It's cold meaning the fact that it's like minus 50, or, you know, the attributes for that is, if I change the attributes, then the 255 will change. So you might say that cold is going to be minus 50. But then when I look at obviously certain things, how cold is cold? So, well, let's ask ChatGPT. Let me ask, how cold is cold? What is the coldest thing and what is the hottest thing? Now the hottest thing will be the sun. Yeah? So the hottest thing is going to be the sun, and what's the coldest thing? Well, it's obviously not ice, but in a human in a human mentality of a brain, we think ice is cold. But what's colder than ice? Well, liquid nitrogen. So let's ask ChatGPT. So if liquid nitrogen is the coldest thing ever made or ever known, which ever was invented, then that's going to be 0, because that's going to be the coldest thing ever. But then what's going to be the hottest? It's going to be the sun. So what's my temperature between those? Well, okay, well, how hot's the sun? What's the coldest thing on planet? Okay, fine, we've now established now, don't we? And it's the same as saying as speed of light. What's the speed of light? Depends what the attributes are. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be 255 is going to be where it is basically the metrics that we use, but actually, as a human species, we look at 0 to 100. That's going to be 100%, not 255%, because 255 that's the end of the attribute of what we work to. Because you can go down the route doing, let's say for instance 1.1, and you can go down the route doing 245.1. So between those attributes, there's more to think about. It's all numbers. Anyway, I'll shut up. I'll just be quiet now, because I think people would be losing their shit now with me. They're like, Mike, you're talking shit again. I'm like, really? Anyway, all I can say is we've actually done really well today. We've actually done a 45-minute show today. 45-minute show. Turned up, and everything was seamless. It was like they turned up, clients turned up, they were mic'd. I pressed go on the show, and literally it was just seamless through the whole show. That was 45 minutes worth of show. Microphones were unmuted automatically. Visuals looked amazing. Also, as well as lighting was all transactional, and it went seamless throughout from non-stop. 45-minute show. Client walked away after and said, "Mike, yet again, thank you." That's it. Shook hands, left. And it's interesting actually, because of these are people that I'm dealing with in life, whereby these are people that I'm dealing with in life who have come from the States. These are people that obviously not only have they come from the States, but they are mixed, so white to black, which is, again, I'm back. I dropped out. I'm back. I dropped out. They understand. They've got the best people part of their corporation. But however, what they have done is they've put all their differences aside, but they work together as a team. So like standing back and seeing their integration together and the way they operate together, the way they've got loyalty, the way they interact, the way that obviously they are well dressed, well spoken, and just the way that they obviously communicate and they work together as a team. It's amazing. Like, and I stand back. This is a brand that every single person knows, and yeah, it's madness. There's no racism. There's no levels of people, and there's no obviously animosity. And to sit back and see it, I think yourself like, that's mega. That's mega, and that's a brand. It's a powerful brand, very, very big, very, very powerful. But one thing I will say is that's how the world works. That's how it should work. And they don't put anything. They put all the differences aside. So, again, religion aside. Well, does religion really matter? Not for the rich. The rich don't care about religion. This is the fundamental fact about the facts about life. When you're rich, you don't care about religion because you've got to be you've got to be high value and mix with groups of people. And that's how it actually works. It's only the poor and the poverty that has to have a religion. And that's the differences. Wouldn't it be amazing to be on a planet that doesn't have any of the problems, that doesn't value money, that doesn't value time, because we don't care about money. We don't value time because whatever we want we get it free. Time is not an issue because we don't care. If it's morning, it's daylight or nothing. There are places on planet Earth today that don't focus on money, that don't focus on time, and basically they just do whatever they want on a daily basis. And that's what I think people need to understand. That's it. It's simple. So when you're actually on the streets and you're walking around, and you know, if you have a dog, pick up the shit. My mentality is don't have an animal. Don't have an animal. When there's no need for them, because at the end of the day, what's it for? It's a business. Having a dog, having a cat, having a hamster, having a rabbit, it's all costly. It's a liability. And my mentality is we only do it for one purpose: to make money. So you might as well get rid of them. You might as well not have them. And just when I say get rid of them, allow them to be wild. A dog isn't going to go down the route of being a wild dog on the streets. A wild dog will not be a wild dog. You leave it. Let it be what it is, you know, and let it grow. That's it. It's how it's going to be. And you know, again, you know, it's like having a sheep. A sheep is not going to go down the route of turning wild. You know, a sheep is a sheep. A bull is a bull. You know, you're not going to go down the route of having a bull that goes down the route of saying, right, well, actually, it's going to attack us as human beings. If you approach a bull, it's going to attack you. But if you don't approach a bull, it ain't going to attack you. It'll just eat. It'll just eat, and it'll just go down the route of, it'll only fend for itself when it needs to. And if a bull feels like it's under attack, it will fight. The same mentality as a human being. A human being will only attack if it feels like it's under attack. A dog will only feel like it needs to attack if it's under attack. We train dogs to attack. So please train dogs to attack. That's what dogs are designed for. It's what we do as a human being. But if you just got a wild dog on the streets, it ain't gonna attack. It's physically impossible. It's physically impossible because a dog doesn't need to attack. If you corner it, it's going to attack. It's like having a fox. A fox is going to run away. If you look at a dog compared to a dog has the same mentality as a fox. You can't change it. It's the same mentality. They're wired in their head to, if they're under attack, they'll attack. If they are left alone, they won't. They'll just fend for themselves. So having wild animals around is fine. A human's got no risk to it. Humans haven't got no risk. But the problem is, we want to, as a human being, we want to capture animals. We want to make them as a. We want to make money from them. So a zoo makes money. A zoo makes money. It doesn't protect a species. It doesn't protect them. It goes down the route of thinking, right, you know what? We want to make money. It's a business. If we allow them into the world and allow them to, produce and live a life, we go down the route of trying to help matters around the world. If there is a species that's, for instance, going to go distinct, it's going to be Mother Nature. Mother Nature will take control of that. Same mentality as human beings. Human beings will become distinct at some point. We will get AI will take out robots, will take out humans. I'm telling you, that's what will happen. So computers will take out humans because that's how I know is going to happen. It makes me think about even like the Egyptian times. It makes me wonder if the Egyptians took themselves out by, I won't say, well, maybe they did. Maybe they took themselves out by computers. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they took themselves out by, biological, warfare. It makes you think. Enough of this. Well, sorry, but today's my channel, yeah? This is why you want to abuse me now. Shall I just set up another channel just so you guys can all just like go to a different channel and just speak, you guys can just speak without me? It'd be amazing. It means I can just basically continue on. Or maybe I should go down the route of putting the TTS into my live streams at low level and allowing me to speak over the TTS, and you guys can all talk as well, having a conversation to try and trash me completely, and then maybe I just carry on. Maybe that's what I should do. But anyway, look, it's all interesting. Life is interesting, but it's all very. I don't believe that the way the world's going is in a good state, and I'll tell you the reason why. Unfortunately, I think the Western world have let themselves go. They don't want to work. I think they are corrupt. The Western world is. I don't think they want. I think the less people on the dole will be better. I think there needs to be people that need to be educated to go out and get a job and actually work hard, start manufacturing. Schools aren't teaching the Western world to reproduce. The Western world aren't actually going down the route of actually manufacturing and making an income. And also, we don't own half the buildings now. We don't own half the land that we own. Train tracks we don't own. The roads we don't own. And yeah. Eventually, what will happen is the Western world will own nothing. The buildings that we built will then become derelict. There will be a civilized war. There is a civil war now happening. I don't believe a world war will ever break out until it gets to a level whereby there's a civil war that takes over. I think the civil war's got its grasp really, and the only way that's going to grasp is when religion takes over. I think religion will be a big thing that'll take over. Religion will grow. The religion's aspect will grow dramatically now over the years. I think we've got we've got a very short amount of time to settle our differences in the world. But when you look at the Bible and you read the Bible and you go down the route of reading obviously what the Bible is, and then you go down the route of looking at what other religions beliefs are, they don't align, and that's the issue. Because they don't align, unfortunately everybody's in poverty, and the only way that people connect together is through religion. And when you've got people don't care about money, people don't care about the civilization, all they care about is their religion. And when you have that mentality whereby people care about their religion, and when they don't fear death, and they don't fear, because again, they don't fear death. One of the scriptures says that if you don't believe, then we will terminate, and that is pretty well what the mentality is to wipe out civilization, and that's harsh. That's harsh. So we will eventually wipe ourselves out eventually, and it's going to be one of those things. I believe that COVID was I think COVID wasn't just a mistake. I think COVID was a test. I think COVID was a test of bio warfare, and I don't think people understand that mentality. I think COVID is a massive test, and life's about power. It's about, obviously, you know, it's about taking control. And when you look at, obviously, when you look at all the billionaires and look at who they are, the billionaires in the world, and you look at religion, it's interesting to see what religion, if they're religious, what their backstory is, and where they come from, and you start to then establish the connections between countries. And I think certain religions know that. So a bio-warfare, I think, is inevitable. I think it's going to happen big time. I think it's going to really change the dynamics. I also think, as well as there's a lot happening into the UK at the moment, and the world, the Western world. When you get airports that are taken down, when airports go offline, when airports have to stop flying, that to me is a sign that we're not in a good state in the world today. You know, when you look at delays in flights, that is a red flag, big red flag in the world, to say we have problems. They won't tell you what the problems are, but when they have to stop flights, that is a fundamental red flag. When you've got a bank account that goes down the road to sending an email saying that we've frozen your account for unlegitimate logins, that to me is a red flag in the world today. And it's not about fear. It's not about fear factor. It's not about saying, you know, we're going to really stress people out. The people that are awake in the world today, the people that actually understand the world, see things in a different light, completely, utterly different light. I am awake. I know what's going on in the world today. I know what the end goal is. I know how things will happen. I know the end story. And you know, if you think for 1 minute that Elon isn't trying to get out of planet Earth, then you're mistaken. He's realised. That's why he's building the robotics companies up. He's building robots to, you know, he's sending thousands of robots to obviously Mars, basically, to build Mars. You can't send humans to Mars. It's going to have to be done off robots first. And that's what he's doing. He's building robots to go to Mars to build a civilization to allow Mars to become an Earth-like, basically like an Earth-like, like basically world. If you look at all these companies, the Boring Company is the reason why he's got the Boring Company, and I'll tell you the reason why, is we can't live above ground on Mars. We have to live underground on Mars for several years. That's why we're doing the Boring Company. So the Boring Company is linked with living on Mars underground. So that's the plan. The plan is on Mars is to drill into Mars and to make life sustainable underground on Mars. That's the plan. That's why he's got the Boring Company. That's why he's tested the facilities on planet Earth to make it happen. So human beings cannot live on Mars unless they're underground. Now, if they can burrow under the ground in Mars, which they can do because we've done it on planet Earth, it then allows us to then eventually start to drill up into the atmosphere of the planet to then start to change the world, change the environment of Mars to make it more civilization-like. At the moment, the minute we go to Mars, it won't be humans going to Mars, it'll be robots that will go to Mars first, and they will go down the road to burrowing down and making Mars livable for humans. So that's the Boring Company for you. So if you don't believe me, then I'm sorry, but do your research on Mars, do your research on gases, do your research on the whole of Mars, and then look at Earth and the resources that the Earth's got, and then go down there and look at how things are going to operate. Second of all, as well, is once that happens, we can then start to filter air. So we can then start to filter. Once we're underground, the rock between the land, which is open air, and what's obviously below ground, we can use that to filter. So we can filter oxygen underground, and we can allow us to live underground. That's the whole idea about Mars. So what the plan is to get to Mars, facilitate the Boring Company on Mars to burrow down, to actually make an underground massive complex whereby we can dig away, we can send raw materials up to the obviously the surface, and we're going to turn into ants. Now, the whole idea about looking at the ant mentality, we've realized what ants are. We've realized how ants work. And when you establish what ants are compared to human beings, we've established now that we can live underground. So that's what's going to happen. Once we get to Mars, we're going to live underground. We're going to then start to change the environment on Mars above ground. And we're going to start to filter water, basically, from the surface level down to where we actually live in civilization. Look at obviously the implants and brain implants. You will not be allowed as a human to go to Mars unless you've been chipped, because they've realized that racism has to stop. Racism is the thing between black and white people which has to stop, and Elon Musk has realized that it can't be stopped. We have, as a human nature, as a species, we've established that racism is a fucking problem, and we won't ever be able to sort it. It doesn't matter if you're white or black, it doesn't matter if you work together or not work together. There is a biometric clock that we all work to as a human species. Racism has to stop, but it won't on planet Earth. So what he's established is, right, fine, I'm going to reprogram the fucking minds. So the brain implant is designed to get rid of all the negativity. So what Elon wants is the best for humanity. He wants to get rid of all the racism. He wants to get rid of all the religious aspects of life and have people who are devoted to be respectful, nice, don't kill, don't murder, don't rape. Basically, this is going to sound really harsh, but the 10 Commandments. That's what Elon's doing. Elon isn't religious, but he's got good moral status symbol in life today. And that's what Elon's doing. So if you don't believe that Elon's doing good for the world, I'll tell you one other thing. Elon is prolonging. He's prolonging. So when he stands up on screen in the central London and says, you need to fight for your country, you need to fight for your country, What he's saying is he doesn't want animosity. He's prolonging what he knows is what's going to happen as the outcome of life. He knows that civilization is going to be terminated. He knows that people are going to have kids. People are going to have girls. People know for a while that they're going to be raped at a young age, and they're going to have kids. That's what Elon knows. He isn't daft. He knows this. We need to speak out about all this because we've got to stop it. So what's actually happening is it needs to stop. And obviously the Western world haven't had this problem. Now we've got this problem. And this is the fundamental issue. We need to stop it. So straight away, I'm outspoken, and I'll tell you the truth about life. What Elon's doing is what the whole idea of what Elon's doing is he needs to protect as much as he possibly can right now this minute until he can get so many fucking rockets out of the out of the world to be able to form civilization on a different planet away from all the negativity. And the whole idea is if you want to go to Mars, you get the brain implant and the chip. That means then that he knows for a while that he can reprogram you. So once he's got the chip inside you on planet Earth and you want to go to Mars, that'll be part of the fundalization. You get on that rocket, straight away, it will sync with the brain chip. Racism, gone. That's it, sorted. Religion, gone. These are all the fundamental issues that we have on planet Earth today. It shouldn't be an issue, but it isn't an issue. So that's the problem. This is the issue that Elon's sorting out. But until he can get to a level whereby we can reprogram human beings, which we're doing very quickly, the brain implant now is in a lot of human beings. It's in a lot of our animals. We've now got the brain implant in a lot of our animals, and there are human beings now who have the brain implant. And you know, it's for the better of humanity. And you know, you might turn to me and say, but it's not, Mike. It fundamentally is. So all I can say is you need to support Elon the best you possibly can. You need to look at who he is, look at all his companies, put all the links together to realize all the things that he's doing for the world, and then go down the road thinking, right, you know what, great. And this is why I think Tesla is a good thing, because Tesla has got, you know, it's not about stopping humanity from operational. People say it is, but it's not. The whole idea about the robots cars is to allow traffic not to be getting held up, to give you more time on planet Earth, to say, right, you know what, I'm going to reprogram the car. We'll go this direction today because I know for a while there's an accident there. Human beings are shit. Human beings will openly not use Google Maps because they'll go, well, why should I use Google Maps when I know I'm going down the road? I don't know what's down the road until I go down there and then I see there's a traffic jam and I'm sat in traffic. And then I'm sat in traffic and then I wait. Somebody else behind me who is another dickhead who'll do the same. Another one behind me will do the same. So just because we feel as a human being, we don't want to be tracked. We don't want to have people following us. These applications are designed for the better of humanity. And this is what we need to understand. Human beings will go down the road thinking, oh, I don't want to be tracked. But actually, to be fair with you, I don't know what's around that corner until I get there. So why don't I just use it? Sorry, Mike, you can't go down that road. I'll tell you why. Because there's an accident and you'll be there for 3 hours. So you know what? We're going to redirect you. Thank you, Google. I really, really appreciate it. You just saved 3 hours of my life just by redirecting me. We don't think about this until it's too late. And humans don't think. We've established this. We have sex. We don't think until after. Fuck. Yeah, I didn't use protection. Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah. She was horny. I was horny. Great. We've now got kids. Yeah, I didn't think about that, did I? No. And then it's the aftermath. It's fucked. And this is the problem we have in society. Kids aren't being looked after. Really, what needs to happen is high-level women need to be dating high-level men. And that's the only way that humanity operates. Because if you're going to go down the route of having somebody who's thick, I'm telling you the factual figures now. You've got a thick woman who's going to date a thick guy. A thick woman needs to date somebody who's intellectual, who then starts to bring her up to a level whereby she understands. The kids then start to understand. The problem is, at the moment, we have poverty. Shit breeds more shit. And that's the only definition that I can express to everyone now. If you're a woman, do not go down the route of going to a nightclub, meeting a guy there and dating a guy who's in a nightclub. Fuck it off. You're better than that. If you're a woman, get a job, go work hard, find an intellectual guy who's knowledgeable about the world, who's got an income coming in, who either runs a business or who's got several bits of income, who's got assets, and actually drive forward. That's if you're a woman. And if you're a guy, guess what? You're not going to have any attention by a woman unless you sort your shit out. So if a guy, get shit behind you, get a nice car, respect women to a high standard, and guess what happens then? You then start to find out you get more women. So straight away, guess what happens? The biological time clock of everybody works forward. So, you know, it's a problem. I've seen it. I see it all over now. I go around the world seeing it. You know, you go to a nightclub and it's just shit after shit. If you meet somebody in a nightclub, they're going to be a piece of shit, basically. And that's how I've established. If you go down the route of seeing somebody as a male who goes down the route of going out for a run, and again, males, if a male wants to date and wants to be influential and get high class women, the best thing to do is to go for a run around the same locations every single week at a certain time. You'll get noticed. That's the thing. That's the plan. It's simple. Because women will see that, and if people see you on a daily basis, they build the courage up to meet you. They build the courage up to see you and spend time with you. I'll tell you one thing: it's worth for me on the way, for instance, that when I was younger, I actually went down the route of bringing. I had two long-term girlfriends, to be fair, yeah. These are two long-term girlfriends who obviously I met. I was with her 5 years and 4 years, and again, you know, when you look at the logic behind how I was in those long-term relationships, it was mainly for the fact that I was devoted. I was devoted to technology. I was devoted to making things look better. And some of the things I failed with in my young days is putting other people in my position. Not in dating, but obviously in like, I obviously brought in a client. I did a lot of work for a client, and I put somebody else in my position, trained them to do my position, and I lost the client. And the reason being is because they weren't established. They wouldn't provide what I provided, and that's what happened. And then I realized that somebody else came in and took my business, and then I realized, right, that's why I've got to do what I do, to establish what I do going forward. So nobody's ever going to treat anybody the better than you'll treat them yourself. So yeah, that's why now I can't go down the route like this client today that I've been dealing with. I can't give this client to anybody else in the world, because I'll lose the client. I'll lose the connection. I'll lose what I'll lose. It's why in life, account managers are so valuable. An account manager is so valuable to businesses, because if you're an account manager, you've got the clients. You can go anywhere in the world with those clients, and you will make money, because those clients have that connection. So account managers are the ones that will always be valuable in the world today. So they again. But account managers have to get a team behind them to facilitate what they are going to provide. So it's why if you come to me and say, Mike, I need a job in business, I'm going to turn to you and say, sort your shit out. Go and get a shit job, work up the ladder, and then come to me in 6 months, 12 months time. If you haven't got a job, I'm not even looking at you, because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at people that have jobs, who are dedicated, who are driving nice cars, who understand life to a level that I understand life, and say, right, you know what? I will headhunt people that have got jobs. I will headhunt. If I want you part of my team, I will headhunt you and I'll bring you over to my team. But then I need to have the loyalty to say, thanks, Mike. I'll look after you and I'll pay you a large amount of money, but you're going to have the loyalty with me. And they will do to a certain level until they go sour. And that's when they'll go, right, you know what? Fuck it. And that's the problem. So again, one of the jobs that I've been doing in the last 6 months is a form of protecting data. Data is critical in life. I could do anything in the world today now. I've established that anything I want to do, I can achieve, and data is critical. So for instance, like if you got my personal number, that's critical information. You've got literally access to somebody who's high standard, high value, and also who has access to a large amount of money. So for me, I have to level mine and align myself with people who are in that level themselves, because the issue you've got is if you don't, you find out that you have issues and problems. So this is how networks of wealth work together. If you don't believe that Elon Musk isn't talking on a daily basis to Bill Gates, and if you don't think Bill Gates is talking on a daily basis to, for instance, you know, to Meta, obviously Mark Zuckerberg, then you're incorrect. They are all in communication with each other on a daily basis about politics, about the way the world is. They know what's happening to the world. They know exactly what's happening to the world. They've created the world. They've built the world. They've built what's happening right now this minute. They've built the matrix. And this is what we establish. You know, you've got to establish this. You know, that they've literally built overnight a form of what you see. They can push narratives to you every minute of the day. They can build a business. They can build a brand overnight and make it successful. The reason being is because they know how. It's not about who they are. It's about what they know, and they know exactly. They understand humanity. They understand how the mind works. They understand how humanity is. So if you think about the world today, the most important people in the world today are people that understand the human mind, human nature. Like, I understand the human nature. I get it. I understand it. So for me, I have to travel now. I can't be in one location. I have to be on the move all day, every day. Billionaires travel all day, every day. Millionaires travel all day, every day. You can't stop moving, because if you stop moving, you have a problem. So we have to be on the move now. We have to keep ourselves on the move. We have to keep ourselves in different identities. Like, if you think for me now, when I book things and when I pay for things, do you really think that when I order food, do you really think that I order food under my name? No. I've got different names. I have to change my identity. I have to have different personality traits now for dealing with different people, because you end up finding out you're gonna have problems, you know. And this is the issue, you know, buying from Deliveroo. I can't have my name saying Mike. It's a problem. It's a civilized problem. So what I have to do now is I have to go down the route of changing my name on Deliveroo to a different name. The reason being, I have to be very, very careful, because my name's Mike. It's a British name. I have to be very careful. I have to change my name now on Deliveroo, so it's not under Mike. These are people who are intelligent. These are people who are, these are people that are protecting themselves. You know, when someone says to me, "Can I see your, your ID?" My ID, I have different types of ID for different people. So, for instance, it's now legal to have different types of ID. And if people ever ask me about it, I'll say, I've used that ID because of X, Y, and Z. I'm protecting myself as a human being. It's classed as self-defense. So if you get stopped and you get asked, what I obviously object to is young ladies who are uneducated, who go to the corner shop, who go and buy alcohol. Students especially are not educated. Students go 21, 22, 23, 24, who are, again, I'm not going to lie to you, ladies especially, they've not got the mentality, they don't understand. I get it, because I understand it. But they take their driving licenses to, where they take them? To the corner shop. Guess what happens? It's got their address on. It's got their full name. It's got their address. It's got their date of birth. What do? The person behind the counter, they look at the address. They never, ever, ever look at your age. They look at your address. They get your address. They look at your name. They've got your date. They've got your age. They don't care about the age. The age they can get. They can get the age from a different database. They've got your name, which is, again, majority of females use their name, and they've got your address. That's all they need. Straight away, guess what happens? They start to mix in society. Those information is personal information. You've got to be realistic about it. Do me a favor, use your fucking passport. The reason why I'm using the word fucking is because you'll understand. Use your fucking passport. It's got your name on it. It hasn't got your address. It's got your protection. Why do I ever use my driving license? No. It doesn't matter. Your driving license is fucking dangerous. Don't use it. As a male, don't use it. Because I'll tell you one thing, if you're outspoken on the internet and you use your driving license, my driving license is now into the 200s. They've issued over 200 different driving licenses for me now. Why? because they've had to, because my address changes. So when people say to me, when somebody says to me, can I have your driving license, for instance, I have to change that. I have to change it. My address changes. So the only reason why I've pulled away from Enterprise as a company is because, first of all, it's got my driving license on the system. They've got my name, it's got my address, and guess what? It's a problem. You have to change it. So every time I get asked for my driving license, I change my address, because then it doesn't matter. It's regardless. I never have my driving license or my address in any other address name. And the reason being is it's for safety. And people don't get it. So you go to hire a car and they say to you, have you got your driving license, please? Great. They put it in on the system. Guess who you're dealing with? You're dealing with people who are average people in public. That information gets spread. Same mentality with bank details. It's all a problem to society. Never ever give that bank card over to anybody. Don't ever do it. Don't ever give your driving license to anybody, because it's all data that can be used. If you want me to do you a favor, I'll tell you the realization, because I'll go and do something and show you in a live stream what I'm about to do over the next 12 months and show you how critically dangerous life is. And I'll show you. I'm just average everyday human being. But I'll tell you one thing, I know a lot about life. I can track anybody in the world today. Track anybody. I'll know exactly your name, your history, your family names. I'll know your bank details. I'll know everything you're signing up to, because I understand the world. And you guys don't. So when shit is the fan, when people get killed, when people get murdered, when people go down the route of finding out, that people are being raped, and then I turn to you and say, why did that happen? I'll say, because you did it, because you did this, this, and this. Listen to what I'm saying. Educate yourselves, work forward, protect yourself. Don't go onto social media. Get the fuck off social media. Stop Instagram. You've got to stop Instagram. Because one thing I'll say about Instagram and everything you ever do in the world today is I'm on the move. I don't have a geographical location. Yes, you know my name. Yes, you know my face. But I'm always on the move. I can live anywhere in the world. I can leave tomorrow on a private jet. I'm at safety. One thing I will say to you is everyone's not at safety. And this is the issue we've got. I change my number on a daily basis. My numbers on my phones change. If you get hold of my number, I'll just change it. It doesn't matter to me, because I'll change it. If you get hold of any of my businesses or my email addresses or anything, I'll just change it. Because I'm not the guy who's going to sit up there and go down the route of allowing you to get hold of my information. But because I understand the world. So one thing I will say is that you have to be considerate. Work as a team. Get off social media. Stop posting, because it's dangerous. Everything you post online is used against you. End of story. This video that I'm doing now, this live stream, will be used against me at some point. Because it is. I'm telling you the reasons. I've just told you a critical point to what corner shops do. They do not want you to know that information, but I'm telling you this. So if I go down the road doing a live stream and telling you about corner shops, straight away, they're unlicensed, they're unregulated, they're not run by nice people, and straight away, it's gang related. And the next minute, you come along and say, here's my driving license. They'll sell you cigarettes all day long. They're corrupt. They don't care. They're not going to turn around to you and say, oh, by the way, we can't sell you because you haven't got a license. Just say to them, you go to a corner shop and say, sorry, I haven't got any ID on me. Can I buy some alcohol? 9 times out of 10, they'll give you alcohol, because they're corrupt. But one thing they want is they want your license. They want your license so they can get the information. If you're a female, if you're a pretty young lady with a nice little body, with a name, address, that's all they want. They will make friends with you. They will be nice. They'll be considerate. They'll give you alcohol. They'll give you cigarettes. They'll give you a discount, because they want you to because what they'll do is they will get the information out of you. And once they get the information out of you, they're not very nice people. They will be awful to you. So if you've got parents, if you've got parents that don't understand the world, and then you go down the route of saying, well, actually, this guy, he's British. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm a good person. I fucking love being British. I love the land. I want the best for civilization. I will honour any other country, I'll honour any other religion on the basis that we are nice to each other. I don't mind. But we've got to understand the mentality. And this is the biggest issue that we have. So yeah, it is a bit of a rant. But rants get views. Why do rants get views? Because rants get views. If I swear and say, fuck you, you get it. If I turn to you and say you're fat, lose weight, you will listen and learn. That will traumatize somebody to a level whereby they will listen. If no one tells you, you're not going to sort it. So my mentality is if you are fat and need to lose weight, you get no attention by women. If you're male and fat, I can say it. I'm athletic. The difference is for me, and I'll be honest with you, when I have sex and when I have intercourse, I can last for hours, because I'll tell you one thing. For me, I'm not fat, I'm not obese. Second of all, as well, is it's all about pleasuring somebody else than pleasuring myself. And also, one thing I'll say to you is I respect that. I respect the woman that's allowing me to be with them. So I will honour that and I'll respect that. And the thing about life is human nature is about selfishness, really. A man doesn't go down the route of going down. A man today, in the realization of today, doesn't go down the route of thinking about their partner. They don't care about their partner. Because I'll tell you one thing about a man will cheat. A man will always go down the route. If he has the option to cheat, a man will. Factual. And there's no loyalty. There's no loyalty because there's always that mentality in a man's head that the potential. So as a woman, you need to maintain your body. You need to maintain your mindset. Don't cause him traumatization. Be nice. Be considerate. Pleasure your man on a daily basis, even every couple of days. You look after your man, he will retain respect for you. And again, if you're a male, your job isn't over. The minute you put a ring on a woman's finger, that's not your job over. But that's what it is. At the moment, in humanity, we believe that putting a ring on a woman's finger, that's for life. It's fucking not. So you've got to maintain that. The amount of women that are out there that cheat is unbelievable. So you've got to look at the bigger picture. Maintain your woman. Yes, obviously commit to her, because that's what life is about. Because commitment is about, obviously, a team effort, work together. But that doesn't mean that your job's over. So maintain your body. Go to the gym. I know I don't, but look, if you look at who I am, if I walk around the streets naked, I'm not ashamed of my body. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a male and I'm athletic. I can outrun most people for a start. I'm also a fighter. So straight away, think about the bigger picture. I have the security. I understand what I'm capable of. So the difference is I understand self-defense. So I'm very streetwise as well, and I understand weapons as well. So straight away, when you look at the logic and who I am and what I'm achieving, what I can do to achieve, I'm on a bit of a different legacy to most people. But a large amount of people don't understand the world. They can't fight. They can't even keep themselves trimmed. It's madness. And one thing I will say is there is definitely a difference between people that understand the world. So look at Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, he's trimmed. Look at me. I'm trimmed. Look at everybody who is influential, who's rich and powerful in the world today. They are looking amazing. They look after their bodies. They've got trimmed nails. They're well groomed. They are athletic. They live a high life. They have money. Madness. It's not about muscle building. But one thing I will say is it's about understanding the world that we live in today. So anyway, I'm going to kill the stream for now because again I've said a lot, and I think people need to reassess what I've said. If I go on for ages, people get bored and they'll just basically turn off. But anyway, I'm going to kill the stream for a bit. I'm going to actually go. I'm actually going to go and meet. I'm actually going to meet for a drink, to be fair with you. And obviously I can't live stream that, can I? Because of yeah. So I'm going to go for a little bite to eat now. I'm running late. I need to get to the hotel, get changed, shower, and then I'm going to go and have a bite to eat tonight. I've got a table booked for 9 o'clock tonight, so I'm probably going to be off stream for a bit tonight. But I'll be back. So, but anyway, you should stream it. I would love to stream it. Unfortunately, if I streamed it, I would I would probably end up losing them as a contact and as a friend. So it's a shame. They are actually they're actually in business. They are actually in business. They are very wealthy, and they don't put themselves out like me. They go down the route of not putting themselves out. They keep themselves to themselves. What they do is they keep themselves quiet. One thing about the rich don't speak. The rich speak between themselves, but they don't speak out publicly. So you could say, but you're different, Mike. The problem for me is I understand the world today. I understand civilization, and at the end of the day, I've got no descendants. I haven't got any kids. So what happens to me? As long as I can leave planet Earth today, knowing the fact that I've changed the world, that's me. That's my job done for today. That's like me completed. So I can talk about subjects. I can go down the route of having, you know, conversations and moving around and doing different things. I don't think for me staying in the UK is going to be safe. I think I'm going to have to leave the UK for safety, unfortunately. And that's the realization of life. I'll be honest with you. I think there's going to be a tipping point whereby one day I'll just take a private jet overnight and leave the UK. And basically, unfortunately, it's going to go to shit. Basically, the UK's gone. The UK's finished. It is cooked. People will turn to me and say, "But Mike," I'll say, no buts. It is fucking gone. Because Labour's come in. Keir Starmer, he is a snake, an absolute snake. Do your research on Keir Starmer. Find out who he is. Find out what he stands for, and realise very quickly. So yeah, he's not a very nice guy. He is snakes and ladders. He's the snake. And unfortunately, every single person in this world today is playing the board game Snakes and Ladders. Now, for me, there's one thing I'll say. I own the board. I play. If I flip that board upside down, I own the board. There's no game. That's why the true game exists, because for me, I own the board. So I can turn that board upside down and say to everybody in planet Earth, basically turn to everybody in planet Earth today, I'm outspoken, I'll tell you the truth. I own the board. You can't change that. I own the board. Also, I own the ladder. So I own the ladder, I can extend the ladder. So I can literally play the board game. I'm playing the board game, but in a different level. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the board game like everybody else on a daily basis. Every day is a new piece that you move. And every single day, the way I tend to see it in my head is the board game is Snakes and Ladders is going across, well actually going across this way, up, across, up, across, up, across. The way that I play the board game is I lay it out in a big long line. So we play on lines. Life is about a line you play. Forget the negativity of drugs. I'm not talking about white lines. I'm not talking about that. The line we play is every board game we play, we put into a line. And what happens is for me, I play the board game. Every time I eat a banana, I jump over the snake. And whenever I level up every day, I'm jumping over the snakes and I'm carrying on going up for the board game. However, every single day that I eat something healthy or I'm leveling up, I'm hitting a ladder. So I'm moving up the ladder very quickly. So what happens is, in life, is I'm building myself up. Every single minute of the day, I'm building myself up on the ladder. I'm getting bigger, richer, better. You can't stop it. The only thing you can do is to kill me. That's the only way to stop me. But you can't, exactly, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until I stop. So I'm leveling up on the ladder. At the same time, I'm also building the ladder. So for instance, every time I get richer, I'm adding a section on the top of the ladder. I'm accelerating my wealth and my growth at a very fast pace. Now what you find out in society is every time you drink a bottle of Coke, you're landing on a snake. You're dropping down that snake. Every time you drink fizzy pop, or every time you eat something unhealthily, you're dropping down. And the same mentality it's a waterfall mentality really. If you go swimming, a fish will swim upstream if it's healthy, if it can. I'm swimming upstream. The people in the pond are fucked. You can't, anybody can leave that pond, but you've got to make that pond leap. So you've got to get up in the morning, eat a banana, You've got to start eating healthily, drink water, stop drinking pop. Everything you see, everything you see sugar, stop drinking sugar. Stop eating sugar, because that's what's keeping you in the pond. Sugar is like syrup. It's basically like quicksand. So you've got to be careful. Quicksand is a problem. So you've got to be careful. And obviously, if you're in the pond, you've got to get out of that pond. If I, as a male, sees a female in a pond, I've got no time for her. I will let her drown. She can drown with the rest of the people, because I've got no mentality for it. If she can't level up in the world today, not interested. Sorry, sweetheart, you're over, gone. So that's what the devil's like. The devil is kind of like in the pond. Everyone's in the pond at some point, but you've got to see the light. You've got to grow forward. You've got to be this mentality whereby you've got to drive forward. And I'm not saying this in a political, in a political stance of obviously, on a religion basis. Religion, to me, the problem I've got with religion is negative. I think all religions are negative, because what we end up finding out is we end up not focusing on ourselves, but focusing on religion. And religion actually pulls us all down. So my mentality is like Elon Musk has said, he isn't religious, but he's got a good moral basis. He knows what's right and what's wrong in the world today. Binary. He knows the world. He gets it. Same as I do. So to level up in the pond, first of all, women, if you're in a relationship, fuck it off. Start to date high-class men, and you will start to be going upstream. I actually now meet women who are upstream now. It's how it's people who I associate with. It's people that today I interacted with one of the events girls that have come over from the US, and again, she's a different kettle of fish. When you look at obviously in the UK, different league. You interact with her, she gets the world. She's come from a family who is very, very, very knowledgeable about the world and gets it. The way she uses the use of language, the way she makes eye contact, the way she can obviously communicate, is madness, but she gets it. And and obviously for me, she's one of the people that requests me, and it's not any sort of like proactive way at all. I've known her for 6 years of me working with her for 6 years. There is a professional boundary, and we work together. We can go out for dinner, we go out for drinks, and it's all mutual. It's all, we can go out and have a meal that's going to be worth £200-300, because it doesn't really matter. We'll go and buy a bottle of buy a bottle of wine, and we can have a nice glass of wine. She knows that I know, and we both know that we understand we've got history together. The history is there's a professional boundary. I've worked with her for 6 years. We can go out and have drinks tonight, and it's literally seamless. We can have intellectual conversation. We can speak about politics. We can speak about religion. Nothing really matters, and we can, after this event, we can just basically part. We can interact on overseas, and again, there's been times whereby I can just fly out and go and spend time over in a different country. Doesn't matter to me. And this is the thing about life, and it's not even done in any sort of like proactive way. It's not even done in any sort of like negative way. It's simple, and it's nice. It's nice to have that mentality. But when you come across men on the streets who go down the road of chasing women, really, they're in the pond. Shit breeds more shit, and this is the problem we see. If you see a man on the street who's pestering a woman, that's one thing you got to understand is if a man pesters a woman, is a problem. If a woman approaches a guy, it's different again. So my mentality is if a woman approaches a guy, it's the fact that she feels safe to approach that guy. But if you approach a woman straight away, it's a problem. And women know this. The problem is you get women who are uneducated. A woman doesn't really understand life until she gets older. I know this factually. A lot of women will disagree with me and say, "Might you be sexist and sexist here?" It's factually, it's the truth. A man works out life quicker than a woman, and I've established this. And obviously, if you're part of the elite, you're part of a rich family, you understand life quicker because you understand the dangers. You tend to understand life in a different way. So for instance, living in central London, you'll have a different lifestyle than you would do if you lived out in the sticks. However, if you live out in the sticks, you need to understand what life's about. You won't obviously see the animosity. You know, your safety mechanism out in the sticks is different again, but you need to understand what life's about. You got to be wise to life and start to educate yourself. And again, you know, that's what we're lacking. If you're in a little town or a little village, you get taught a degree of knowledge. Like in school, there's a degree of language that you understand. And, you know, when I see little kids going around, doing this, like, you know, they don't understand the logic to what that even means. They go around swearing at people and going down the route of, you know, being, you know, if they educate themselves in saying, do you actually understand what that actually means? And I'll say, no. Well, then why do you use it? Why do you use that mentality? Because if you actually understood the reason to why people stick two fingers up, it's different if you do that, that's different. But if you do that, it's different again. But the difference is, that was the mentality for the bow and arrow. When back in the wartime zones, when you bow and arrow, that was basically the signs to basically turn around to your opponent and say, you know, basically, fuck you. I've still got my two fingers. It was the bow and arrow. The minute somebody got captured and they did a bow and arrow, they get those two fingers chopped off. That was the realization to what that actually meant. And that was the reason that kids use it these days. They don't understand the logic. They don't understand. If you ask them, they're like, oh, well, you know, this, that, and the other. And, you know, and I now educate myself to all the people and say, why do you use that? Why do you swear? Now, the way I swear is I use it in a vocal language, because people don't listen to anybody unless language is used appropriately at certain times. I don't go down the street turning somebody and saying, you know, go and pick up that shit you just put on there. Or I don't use that language in a negative way, because it doesn't add. It's like that woman earlier on that did that got the dog out. It doesn't even add to civilization. Yes, she's a piece of shit. You know, she ain't, you know, you can't educate her. She's overweight. If she's overweight, then you know she's overweight because you can see it. And you can't educate a mind that's overweight. And that's not being sexist to a woman. But when I see a large amount of people, you could say, yeah, but the biological clock, you know, they've got kids. No, I know people that have got kids who are not fat. If you look down at the, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, people were not fat. Why? They're only fat today is because they're buying shit. Stop drinking. Stop fucking eating. Oh yeah, I've got an eating disorder. I've got mental health. Fuck off. It's not about mental health. It's the fact that you can't control your own mindset. Everything's about mindset. A woman is about mindset. A guy is about mindset. If you can't control your own mindset, you end up you're gonna be a piece of shit. And this is the problem. You know, I see people on the road today, people that can't drive. It's madness. You know, this guy here walking down the street. I'm not saying too much about people because, again, people will be like, you know, you can't say things. But again, why would you ever buy white trainers? You're walking down streets with white trainers on. What's gonna happen? They're gonna get dirty. Don't get it. Don't get it. Why trainers have ever been purchased and as white, I do not know. Why has it ever been manufactured as white? Oh, because they look cool. No, they don't. The problem is, people are uneducated. That's the difference. Looking at a police car here, nobody has any respect for the police. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they've got no respect for the police. Because they're not in BMW cars. They're not in matte black cars. They're not wrapped in matte black. I'm telling you one thing, if a BMW car was wrapped in matte black and every officer was trained weaponry, fuck me, there will be nobody would take the piss. And also, as well as this, the police that you see on the streets today, these people that you see, they're in Toys R Us cars. It's fucked. These police can't do nothing. The police that you see in Toys R Us cars, they can't do anything. But the people behind the scenes who you don't know are police, they are the deadly force. The people that obviously, you know, the people that, for instance, if I was an officer, I wouldn't say that I was an officer, and you would never see me. But one thing I would say to you is I would know everything about you. Everything about you. I would know exactly what you're up to. I'd know your location. I'll be tracking you every millisecond. I know exactly what you're spending. I know exactly who you're interacting with. I know exactly the conversations you're having. That's who I would be if I was a police officer. I wouldn't be these little like clowns that walk around and, you know, on the streets saying the word police on. I'd be a deadly force. And this is the problem, you see. The people who've got on the streets today they're not law-abiding themselves. So how would you go down the route of having somebody who's not law-abiding control the streets? One thing I love about certain Muslim countries, for instance like Dubai, is Dubai. I can go to Dubai. Again, this is obviously going to change the dynamics now, because obviously people think that I'm quite a racist person against obviously black people and white people, which is not the case, but people portray this. For me, I work alongside black people, I work alongside white people, and I also work around mixed race people. I love them to bits. I think that's not the issue. I also go down the route of mixing with Muslims. Fine, I totally get it, I understand it, I get it. But one thing I will say about a lot of Muslims is there's a lot of good people part of the Muslim community. A lot of good people. I've got Muslim friends who I associate with, I do business with, I'm family and friends with them. And to be fair with you, I 100% trust them. I 100% trust them with my life. I 100% trust them with finance and money. And it's madness to see, because for me, I feel the most safest in Dubai. I can go to Dubai, I can walk around Dubai, and you know what? I feel the most safest in Dubai. In any sort of like Muslim country, in certain Muslim countries, I feel safe. And it's mad. The problem is, it's certain people. It's certain people, part of certain nationalities and certain sectors, that make it not very nice. And what we have in the UK at the moment is broke people, people that haven't got money, people that haven't got money, and the only way they can I wouldn't say be civil, because they're not civil. Broke people haven't got money, so they assimilate themselves with religion, and they're the people who don't understand. They're the people that can't build, they can't get wealth. I'm intellectual. I can get pretty well any woman I want because of who I am, of who I stand for, my moral status. And again, you know, the phone call the other night, you know, it's somebody who's going through a hard time. It's somebody who I know is going through a hard time, and I was basically just checking in, making sure that she's okay. Obviously, I'm helping and supporting as well. But you know, people need to understand that. But instead, people went down the route of saying, "Actually, Mike, you know, it was interesting how she shot you down." Really? If you knew the backstory to obviously her life, you wouldn't say that. So straight away, you look at the bigger picture. You know, you have to work with people, and you have to align and obviously help people out. So not everything you see, not everything you hear, not everything you go down the route of seeing for face value, you make a decision. And a lot of people want drama these days. I see on the TTS. The TTS is all about drama. Like, I'm half tempted to stop it, because what I've actually established and realised is, again, me selling sex toys online is dividing people away from actually intercourse and bringing people together. I've established that. Again, and I know it sounds really, really harsh, but there's two ways you look at it. I had a lot of people in the UK, a lot of Indian people, a lot of Pakistan people, buying my sex toy products in the UK, and you know, it kind of like made me think if I should go back into selling sex toys online again, because I think to myself, would they stop raping people? Would they stop? You know, if I went down the route of supplying sex toys online at a very, very good cheap price, will that stop, you know, humanity being unfair to kids? And I think maybe it would. So I'm, you know, again, I'm in this mixed period in life at the moment whereby I am half tempted to go down the route of building a nationally brand to stop or to try and help this negativity, what we have in the UK today. And maybe that would work. Maybe what I would do to bring to the world today might just work. And I'm in the, you know, I spent the last 2 days thinking about it on you know, as a mindset is a great issue. The problem is, whatever I do, there's side effects to it as well. So I won't tell you the side effects to it, because again, I want to really think about what I'm doing first before I actually go and do it. I want to try and, first of all, I understand that men are predators, and I understand that men need satisfaction. And for me, I live stream at night. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't watch porn. I don't masturbate, because I'm a high value man in the world today. My relationships are meaningful. My interactions with females are meaningful. And again, if you asked any of my females around me, they will get it. They understand it. They know who I am. They know what I stand for, and they, there is a mutual understanding. But unfortunately, what I see in the world today is there's a lot of animosity, and I think if I can subsidize the manufacturing of an adult toy that would be cost effective, that I could supply out en masse to a large amount of men, I'm hoping that might just change their mentality. The problem is the psychological effect. It's the removing the emotional the issue I've got with it is it's removing the mindset focus to actually doing good for the world. And I've actually spoken to a few psychologists who are specialized in sexual attraction, and I'm still waiting back to hear. But I don't want to damage people more. That is what I don't want to achieve. If it's going to make the situation worse, then I don't want to do it. But if it's going to make it better, but sometimes it's going to be one of those things that you don't know unless it's going to happen. I don't know until I do it. I don't know the side effects to it. And my whole aim is to literally target the industry of stopping people from raping people, because that's what I want to do in the Western world. If it'll work, it'll work. If it will work, then I've done my job. I've done what I wanted to see. I've achieved something that I've set out to do. So we'll see. We'll see. Mindset's difficult, and it's. I don't think you actually understand. I don't think the large amount of time you understand any. I don't think you understand the good you do in the world until you've actually done it, and then you start looking at stats and look at, obviously, for instance, if I did this on a mass scale, you might find out that, victims become less, and if that's the case, then I've achieved. If it doesn't happen and it gets worse, then have I made it worse? This is what I don't want to do. I don't want to do something to make something worse than it already is worse already. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line. But anyway, conversation ended. I'll keep it. I'll stop it from there. But anyway, can anyone translate? Right, I'm going to shut off. I need to get on the road. I need to go to the toilet. I'm going to get back into the hotel. I haven't left yet. I need to go back to the hotel. Go to the toilet, and then say thank you to the hotel staff. They've been great, actually. To be fair with you, I had a call that came in today, and yeah, I had a call that came in today, and they said to me, she said to me about, obviously, I didn't check out until after 1, and they said to me today, they said, Mike, there's no stress at all. All we need to do is just to know, are you staying tonight or not? And I said, look, I'm not going to be staying tonight. And they said, look, we know who you are. You can have the room as much as you want. We just need to know when you're going to be leaving, just so I can make sure we can get staff in to clean the room out. So I said, look, I'll be gone by by 3 p.m. Emptied, gone. And she said to me, Mike, no stress. So to be able to have that mentality in the Hilton now, whereby, the Hilton know me. I spent a lot of money with the Hilton. I actually asked if there was anything on my account that shows that I'm a high value client in the Hilton, and she showed me the screen. So after every stay that I stay, there's a historical data. There's literally historical data of all my stays, and it's all positive. It's all literally positive. It's all like, yesterday I stayed, and one of the notes was that Mike checked in. He was very, very polite, yeah, he basically, paid using points, and yeah, basically, we'd love to have him staying with us again. And again, I'd love to get hold of all the notes. I'm sure at some point, if I spoke to Hilton Honors and said, guys, can I get a list of all of my notes? It'd be amazing to see like date, and all the notes that they've got. So, but yeah, I'm again, they obviously appreciate I'm high value, and again, everyone needs to check out by 11 o'clock. Everybody average needs to check out by 11 o'clock, and I actually get late checkout till 1 p.m. every day. And even like today, I overstayed my welcome. They've not charged me. I was honest, and you know, it's about not taking the piss. It's not about crying wolf too many times, but like again, it's about being nice and considerate, and again respecting. You know, obviously you have to understand that the staff that I'm now dealing with, they are no longer like they are no longer, let's say, originally British. Born and bred. A lot of them now are born into the UK by obviously 2 or 3 generations down the line of immigrants, which is the truth now. I'll have to say that because it's the truth and facts. But they still get valued the same value as they would do if they're British. We've also established that there's a lot of immigrants that are actually now working. There's a guy I spoke to, not in the Hilton Hotel, but there's a guy I spoke to the other day in another hotel. Who basically has come over, not come over officially. However, he's come over. He's very respectable, and yeah, was completely utterly honest with the border, and said, you know, it was basically UK border force. He was completely utterly honest, and he said that he's come over unofficially. And that he wants to better himself in the world today. He says if there's any opportunity that he can get a job within milliseconds, he will basically jump into civilization, support civilization of the UK nationality, and you know, get a job and work hard. And it's, you know, to have that mentality is kind of like, you know, obviously, you know, for me, if there's people on the streets that are criminals, I want to get them off the street as quick as I can, because I think that's what has to happen. If you're carrying a knife, you need to be off the streets. If you're carrying a weapon, you need to be off the streets. If you are rapists, you need to be off the streets. And that's something I can't abide by. That's something in my head I can't facilitate. It's corruption, and it's not very nice. It's even get to such a stage whereby, even for me, I can't walk down the streets. At night, I have to make sure that I know who's around me. I need to make sure that obviously I know who's in front of me. I can't even wear in-ears. I have to know exactly. When I'm walking, I'm always very conscious about who's around me. You know, I'm always wary of who's across the road from me. I'm wary of cars approaching me. And to have that mentality now, I never had that mentality about, you know, when I was a lot younger. Now I have that mentality. So it's one of the reasons why I drive. I won't use public transport. I won't use public transport. I won't use the tubes. I won't use the buses. And if that means me getting a £80 or £100 parking ticket or £160 parking ticket, I will pay that ticket, and I'll pay the price, because I will not facilitate going down on the underground, because it's not worth it. For my safety, it's just not worth it. And this is the problem we have. You know, I'd much rather be in a fast car, which can get me out of trouble fast. And if I get speeding points, don't care. If I need to leave, I need to leave. End of story. And that's the only reason why I do what I do now. Even the Hilton, I check in under my name, but my address isn't on there. And the Hilton said to me, "Can I ask you a question? Why haven't you got your address on the?" I said, "Because you've got a load of immigrants working for you now." I've explained that to him. I said, "You've got immigrants working for you. You've got people working for you who are corrupt, and I won't stand it. If you want me to live in your hotels, you need to do me a favor. You need to make sure that my address is not on my public profile." And they have allowed that. What's on my profile now, and I'll tell you the truth now. What's on my profile says I live in Cloud9, heaven, and if you want to get hold of me, you pray. That's what's on my Hilton Honors address. Because there's no fucking way on this world that I'm going to have my personal address linked in a public in a public area. Not going to happen. So anyway, And it's why I don't drink now as well, because I want to, you know, drinking is bad for you. Drinking is bad for you. It's why a lot of Muslims don't drink. Certain Muslims do drink, but a lot of Muslims don't drink. There is a reason why, because they know something that we don't know. And again, this is a conversation for another day. But there's a reason why they don't drink. They know for a while it's negative. They know for a while it's bad for the human body, and it doesn't align with what their plan is for the future. Hence why they don't drink. So they want to be a nationality of a fighting force going forward. And if you've got people that drink and that are not obviously compos mentis, they can't have a fighting force of going forward. And that's the reason why they don't drink. So this is the, you know, again, you know, when you go and look at the Christian side of it, again, I could go into the you know, into the Jewish community side to it as well, but again, there are reasons why. You know, we have the bread and the wine. But anyway, what are we doing? Wine doesn't count. Well, does it or doesn't it count? He drinks every night. Do I drink every night, or do I? What did I have yesterday? Non-alcoholic. Yeah, I had non-alcoholic. The majority of my times when I'm actually drinking, it's non-alcoholic. It is literally non-alcoholic. You might think I'm drinking, but it's not. I drink sparkling wine. I go down the route of obviously drinking non-alcoholic beers, and I also go down the route of, you know, yeah, it's different. R.I.P. Miss Blonde. Miss Blonde, I don't know. The problem is with Miss Blonde is, again, it's there's things that happened with Miss Blonde. She's a female. She won't accept what went wrong, even though, you know, things escalated to a level. There was information that was betrayed, and again, you know, it's, I don't know whose loss it is. Is it my loss or her loss? Unfortunately, it's her loss. So, you know, she met a good guy. She met a guy that's obviously, you know, who could work with her, who could obviously support her, and she threw it away. Now that's a woman that's uneducated. And it's a shame, really, because I still speak to her now. I say to her, you know, I still interact with her. You know, every now and again we interact and things. I know she watches my streams. I'm not stupid. I don't think she speaks and interacts, but she's fully aware of who I am. She knows what I've got. She knows what I stand for. But she won't facilitate it. And the reason being is it's down to time. A large amount of women who'd go on meeting me first time around, they go down the route of thinking this guy's a clown, which is fine. He's got nothing going for him. He's online speaking out about subjects that he doesn't understand. And the realization is they actually spend quite a lot of time watching me, to be fair. Even my ex-partners watch me. I know that for a fact. And it's interesting to see it. And obviously because I've said it, they'll say that they don't. But they do, because in a way, one of the things I'll say about humanity, if you've had a sexual encounter with a woman, she can't forget you. She can't forget you. She can't get rid of you. You are in her mind. She'll never forget you. She'll always end up watching you. And if you disappear, which again majority of men do. For instance, I disappear. I don't really formally speak to my ex-partners now, but I know deep down they're watching me. They always will do, until the day that they die. They'll always watch me, and I've always noticed that, and that's something that I think a man needs to understand. A man will always have ex-partners who will watch him, and the woman will say, "Mike, that's incorrect," but they'll always go down the route of thinking how I messed up, and I've seen it. Even people now who I've not been involved with, they still watch me, I've got one girl that watches me now, who literally messages me quite a lot actually, and I've said to her, you know, I gave you about a year ago or 2 years ago, I gave you everything on the plate, and she knows that. I gave everything to her on the plate, and she wouldn't accept it, and she went down the route of dating and being with somebody else. I accepted, and now it's gone wrong, it's gone sour. She's kicking herself, absolutely kicking herself. And I said to her, the problem with me is I give a woman one chance. If you fuck it up, never again. So it's up to you. And I think if you've got that mentality in the world today as a male, if you can give a woman one chance to commit to you and to be with you, if she doesn't, then that's her problem. You will walk away. Never ever give her the option again. That means a man is in power at that point. You think a woman picks a man? No, a man picks a woman. A man picks a woman, but you need to maintain that as well. If you pick a woman, you're the king and she's the queen, and that's the problem. You see, you've got to maintain. She's a princess before she's a queen, but when you get with her, you've got to maintain that queenness now, and you've got to obviously you've got to provide support. You've got to obviously make sure that she's catered for, loyal, and that's it. And if a woman doesn't do that to you, if a woman won't hand herself to you on a level of understanding, I'm not saying hand her body to you, that's not what I'm saying, but if a woman doesn't go down the route of aligning on the same wavelength and also committing in a friendly manner going forward, then sorry, let it go. And that's what I've established. I don't chase women. I'm straightforward. I tell a woman what I want. I say to her, you need to work at this. This is what I need to happen. I'll leave it with you. It's in your own hands now. You do what you need to do, sweetheart. I've told you what you want. So, you know, buying vehicles for people, treating them really nicely. You know, if a girl's got a car which is dangerous, I won't allow her to drive it. And if she can't afford to buy a new car, I'll buy her a car. I'll say to her, there's a car there for you, sweetheart, because I don't want you to be hurt in a car. If you're doing motorway driving and you're in a little shitty little car, then no, sorry, this is a car for you. You own it, you've got the car, maintain it. And the same mentality. A powerful man looks after his women. And I'm not saying that in any sort of way that you have multiple women. That's not what I'm saying. Friends are friends, partners are partners, and obviously acquaintances in business are acquaintances. And you don't ever mix that. Never mix family with business, because that becomes a problem. And never mix business with family, because that becomes a problem. And never bring anybody into a business who is sexually related to you, because you have big problems. They always say a family business is a nice family. It's not. You're always going to end up having problems and things. So, and also as well as you have family members that speak different languages. You have. It's going to be the way the world is now is we're going to embrace families now who are diversified. The only way that I can think that religion can sort itself out, which not religion sort of thing, is more like race, is the more people that interact on a big scale level now, and we now become a mixed race society, whereby we now have the background of people having kids now that are mixed race, and having different languages. There is a form of language whereby, when I say form of language, there is a form of language whereby English has become the spoken language. And obviously there are religions now that are wanting now to change the English language. So in Britain, we have now got languages that are putting up on signposts now, of different languages. It's British nature to accept multi-languages in, and unfortunately it's now gone down the route of having certain people in certain power now, whereby we're now changing names of buildings, we're now changing signposts to multi-languages, and it's now becoming a fundamental issue with societies. There's a lot of hatred for it. My mentality is I think the world's gone wrong, because I'll tell you the reason why. I think obviously what we should have done is we should have our own nationally languages. So English should be English, you know, obviously French should be French, and we should have every single language all unique. I'm not quite sure how we've become into this level of changing languages. I don't know how French has become French. I don't understand how English has become English and vice versa. It's physically, when I look at it, the only thing I can do is put it down to the mentality of how we breed and how we go down the route of over days and years and hours and minutes. We live in different areas of the world, and our slang has just become different every single day and every single minute. That's the only way that I can put down to life, really, to how we've become multi-languaged. But one thing we fucked up on as a human species is we should have had an international language. So what we should have done is English. We should have taught English to English people, because that's obviously where they come from. And we should have had an international language. So I should have learned English and international language. Now the international language should be whereby when I do these conferences, we speak and interact in international language. So you can't change the international language. The international language is fixed. Every single person speaks two languages. That's their own language and international language. I know back in the day of historical data, and I know people will hate me saying this, but British English ruled. They always had done. They always will. When I say they always will, this is obviously going to take differently now. They always ruled in the past. They took over practically the world. I don't agree with it. I can't change it. It was well before my time, but it happened. Now we've got to look at humanity going forward now and say, look, we need to stop the historical past. We need to accept what happened. I don't agree or condone what happened. I don't agree with Hitler. I think what Hitler did was horrific. However, people will go down the route saying, but it happened. Yes, it fucking happened. I don't agree with it, but we can't work forward with humanity thinking about the past. The issue we have in the world today is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. If you're unfair to somebody, they will always remember that. They'll take your eye out because that's it. You know, if you're unfair to somebody, they'll take your tooth. That is the mentality. We have to change this. We can't look at the past. So my mentality is I know the past. I've read into the past. I understand the politics between the past. I understand how things have happened. I understand how we've grown into the state we've grown in today. It is a fundamental problem. There is no answers. Hence why the answer is to fucking leave, which is what Elon's doing. There's no stopping Elon from leaving, unfortunately. It's going to happen. And it's getting to the sort of stage whereby I don't know on planet Earth today where I am safe. Personally, I don't know where I can go to. When I look at life and I look at civilization and human nature, there's not a lot I can't sort out. There's not a lot I can't do in programming. There's not a lot I can't do. I'm stumbled at the fact that I don't know where I'm safe now. Am I safe in the UK? Am I safe? Am I safe in Nigeria, in Africa? Am I safe in the US? I don't know where I'm safe. I physically don't know where I'm safe. I've got multiple passports now. I fucking don't know where I'm safe. And the only thing I think about safety mechanism for me is travel. It's keep on the go. Keep on the go. That's the only way. And that's the only way I can think about it. I'm not safe in the UK. I'm not safe in Spain. I thought I would be safe in Spain, but I'm not. And I'm not safe, even when I look at the streets. Tommy Robinson's gone over to the streets of Israel. I thought that I would be safe in Israel, and I don't think I'll be safe in Israel now. I think it's got the sort of stage whereby I'm stumbled. I physically don't know where to go. So, and I'm white and British. I'm proud to be white and British. I stand a lot for white and British with the mentality, and obviously having a clear mindset of what I know today. But I don't know where to go. I'm stumbled. There's nowhere. Where do I go? Do I go and do I go to a private island? Do I work hard to align myself to go to live on a private island? But then civilization isn't on a private island. Do I walk around with security? The problem is, the only reason why I don't walk around with security is because I don't want other people to know where I am. Like, if I had somebody with me every single moment of the day, they would know my name, they know who I was, and they know where I was at any point. And when you look at Charlie Kirk, he has security, and he still got assassinated. It doesn't make sense. My safety is critical to my life, and if I don't feel safe to have private security around me, then I'm fucked. So the only reason why I'm in a BMW now that is owned by me, but not in my name, is because I need my safety mechanism. I don't feel safe. When I check into a hotel, I now have to check in under different names now, because the safety mechanism for me now, I don't feel safe. You know, anybody knows where I am. The staff know. The staff see my face and they go down the route saying, "Oh, we know him." It's becoming a problem. So it's why I can't stay in the same hotel. I have to move around because I don't want the staff to get familiar with me. I want to turn up, be polite, say thank you very much, have breakfast in bed. I have to be very careful on that now, because are they going to poison my food? Probably. It's a problem. And then I have to go down the route thinking, right, you know what? How do I do this? My mentality is now I have to turn up in a hotel, have breakfast in bed when I first arrive, and then I have to leave within 24 hours, because I don't want to get this hotel or anybody in this hotel to recognize me or know me enough to be detrimental to me. And having private security around, having seen what Charlie Kirk had, he was outspoken about reality of life. It's bad. It's scary. I go down the route of saying that obviously I don't agree with certain things, certain organisations I don't agree with, because it doesn't drive humanity to the better of humanity. At some point, someone's going to take grasp of that and say, right, this guy he's outspoken, we're not happy with him, he needs to be stopped. It's madness. I've actually applied. I spoke to a school teacher a while ago, and this is somebody in a school, and they actually know me. They actually know me really, really well. And they said to me, "Mike, we love you. We love who you are. We love what you bring to the table. But the problem is, you're not allowed to speak to the younger generation in schools about life. You won't be allowed. And the reason being is because of what you're saying." And it said, well, why? Because they don't want that. They don't want that to happen. So I said, what? So I can't pay to rent a classroom in a school to fill it full of, let's say, sinks, to allow people to understand how to clean their teeth properly. I can't rent a room, fit it out with Orby. I can't go down the route of filling it full of sinks and providing the education for the younger generation to learn on how to clean their teeth properly. I can't do that. I will rent a room. I'll rent a classroom. I will get a contractor to come in. I will plumb it all up. I'll make it high class, nice flooring, proper sinks. And I can't teach kids on how to teach them. No, we don't want them to clean the teeth properly, because we want them to have bad teeth, because it's a fundamental mentality. Can't do it. And that's the problem, you see. The minute I go into a warehouse formation and build a classroom, filling it full of sinks and getting people to come in, and they basically come in, it'll be £10 in, they get taught how to clean the teeth properly, and also they'll get given an Orby electric toothbrush and some toothpaste, which is designed for their teeth. And to say, right guys, this is what I want you to do every single night, twice a day. You do this, you will have no problems with your teeth. Can't do it. And the thing is, for me, is I'm being paid by the brand of Orby to provide me with what I need to pay, obviously to pay the rent for the actual school, the plumbing I get paid for. I can't do that. It's fucked. It's fucking fucked. I spoke to Orby. I've interacted with brands to say, will you facilitate this? Will you allow this to happen? Yes, Mike. We would love to have our brand in everywhere. We'd love to have our brand. I love people to clean the teeth properly. Why wouldn't they? It's because they're funded. Because they're funded by dentists. They won't do it. Dentists get paid by, the way it works is people have bad teeth. They have work done on their teeth. They then get paid by the dentist. The dentist then give money to the private sector, which is the private sector as the private sector goes into it's a circle. Everything you see in the world today is a circle of life. You can't change it. Or B have said to me they'll sponsor me, but schools won't allow it. But if I do it in a warehouse for formation, I will get stopped by people that don't want to have. The dentists want people to have bad teeth. They'll tell you, oh, we want everyone to have good teeth. No, they don't. They'll be out of business. Are you telling me that we have not secured the understanding on how we can have good teeth? I've got bad teeth, and I'll tell you the reason why I've got bad teeth. I was never taught. I never had the facilities to floss when I was younger, to have an electric toothbrush, or to have proper toothpaste when I was younger. It wasn't a thing. Now it's a thing. I can protect kids. I can make sure that every single child has great teeth. I'd also go down the route of saying to every single person, every single parent, pay in £10 and I will support the toothpaste and also the electrical things that you need for you to make sure that everyone has clean teeth. The minute I do that, I get shot down for it. And this is the problem with business. Business is cruel. This is the issue. And this is why whatever you try and do in the world today, you get bought out. The minute you start to do anything in life today, you get bought out. I have offers on a daily basis for options to be bought out, to give me more money. Mike, we know who you are. We know what you do. I'll buy you out. I'll buy you out. Why? Are you going to buy me out to collapse me so I can't continue on with what I want to do in the world today? Or are you going to go down the route of buying me out because, I'm doing better than what you're doing? Why have they got the money? They should have the money. If they're corrupt, and they shouldn't have the money, because it's blood money. It's blood money. It's assassination money. It's a fucking problem. So I'm still diving into Charlie Kirk's death a lot. I'm starting to understand what went on there now. I've taken a lot of information off the internet. I've taken a lot of historical data. I've taken a lot of, let's say for instance, a lot of personal information to culprits and people that are in communication with each other. And I'm starting to now realise, I think, what happened with Charlie Kirk. And people just don't get assassinated like that. People don't get assassinated. They don't just get a bullet put in the head for no apparent reason. It doesn't happen. It was a planned attack. It was a viral planned attack, and he was close. I think I'm still trying to work out. I'm not there yet. But I will work out what happened to him and why it happened. And when I work out why it happened and who was involved in that, I will know more about the world again. And I'll be like, right, okay, fine. And you might say, but Mike, you shouldn't be digging into this sort of thing. I will. I always will do. And yes, it puts myself at risk. But when I know, I understand the life. It makes me more powerful. It makes me a lot more clued up about the world today. Everything we see today is fake. Cafe fake. The hotel's fake. The car that I'm driving is fake. The understanding of life is all fake. And it's like I'm sat here now, and it's again, it makes me wonder. It makes me think, who's following me? I know too much. It's dangerous. Right, let me go to the toilet, and then I'm about to leave. So I'll be back on shortly.